Hello, algebra students. Fair warning, we are working on a classic, simple example that students think is way harder than it is because they don't read the directions. Did you read the directions? Are you here only because you did not read the directions? If so, you might not even need to listen to me rattle on and on. So let's take a look at those directions. It says, evaluate each expression for A equals 4 and B equals 3. So we see this first expression, 3a squared. And if you had not read those lovely directions, if all you saw was 3a squared, you'd be mad at me right now because you'd be like, Kate, there's no equal sign I can't solve. There's, I don't know what a is, so I can't square it. And I don't know what a squared is, so I can't multiply it by 3. And you're a jerk, and you never taught us how to do any of this. And I would say, no, I didn't teach you how to do any of that, but I sure did teach you to evaluate expressions. So notice, A's not a mystery, guys. I didn't give you an equal sign in another side because you don't need to solve for A. I just blatantly told you A is 4. Well, if A is 4, you don't have to call him A anymore. You can just call him 4. You need that lovely skill of substitution where we rewrite the expression just like we saw it, but instead of having that letter for the mystery, we replace that letter, A, with its known value, 4. Notice how I put it in parentheses. And it's actually in parentheses for 2 reasons. One, because 3 and A were shoved together, they're multiplying, but also because A is being squared. When you plug into exponential expressions, to exponents basically, make sure you use parentheses. And there's my expression to evaluate. Hey, it's not algebra anymore, is it? It's just arithmetic. It's just some math to do. Now, that being said, you can pick up your calculator, type this entire thing in, okay? But I think I'll review the order of operations and do it by hand. So when simplifying, when performing the indicated operations, we go ahead and we follow the order of operations in forward order. So we'll deal with any groupings first, then exponents, then multiplication, division, then addition, subtraction. So a lot of students will say, hey, parentheses come first. No. Groupings come first. So look inside the parentheses. There's no math to do in there. It's just a 4. So there aren't any groupings in this example, but there sure are exponents. And that's why we are starting with 4 squared. So 4 squared is the same as 4 times 4, or 16. And so I will replace 4 squared with 16. Now, a lot of times when you are simplifying, you can drop parentheses if you've used them up. But remember, our parentheses were both for the exponent and for the multiplication we haven't done yet. So I'm still going to have my parentheses and I'm still going to have my 3. And now I have 3 times 16. And again, you can do it in your calculator, but I misplaced my calculator. I think I left it out with my husband, who's doing an answer key for me, you guys. So 6 times 3 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. And so my final answer here is 48. And easy to evaluate once I know what A and B are. Sweet. Let's move a little faster, shall we? So 5A minus 8B would really stress me out, except for I know what A and B are. So let's substitute them in. Everything else stays the same though, okay guys? So my 5 stays the same, but not my A. My A is a known value, it's 4. It's shoved up against 5, meaning it's multiplying, so I will use parentheses to say multiplying. Keep my minus, keep my 8, but my B doesn't have to stay B because I know what he's equal to. B is 3, so I'll replace it with a 3. They were shoved together, they're multiplying, so I'm going to use those parentheses to say multiply. And then again, you can type that entire expression into your calculator. If you were doing this on the GED, you would have your calculator. But I think I will simplify according to the order of operations again, just for that nice review. So order of operations say to do any groupings first. There are no groupings because if you look in those parentheses, there's nothing to do. Exponents, I don't see any of those either. No little floating numbers or their opposites, the radicals. But I sure do see some multiplication, division. There's some multiplication. There's some more multiplication. Let's do that first. 5 times 4 is 20. 8 times 3 is 24. I used up my 5 times 4. I used up my 8 times 3, but I haven't dealt with that negative. I'll drop it. So 20 minus 24. Now again, you can do it in your calculator, but I'm going to do it by hand. If I have $20 in my account and I spend 24, shoot, I'm going to spend the first 20 and I'm going to spend all 4 more. So I'm going to be $4 in the hole, -4. Awesome. Next one, A plus 6 divided by, okay, so the quantity of A plus 6, the whole thing is being divided by the quantity of B minus 1, that whole thing. All right, don't panic at the sight of a fraction bar. That thing is going to just be resolved very easily, okay? So start with the first step, breathe through the sight of a fraction. We can get through our fraction trauma together. Okay, so first thing is an A. I know what A is. A is 4. Let me write 4. Next thing I see is a plus 6. All right, plus 6. It had a fraction bar. I can write fraction bars. They don't hurt you when you write them. Okay. Now on the bottom of our fraction, sorry, I'm just naughty today. I see a B, but B's not a mystery. I know what B is. B's 3, so I'm going to replace him with 3. I'm not going to lose anything else. So if there was a -1 with that B, there's still going to be a -1. And now order of operations says to do groupings first, right? Groupings. And that's why I use the word groupings and not the word parentheses. I don't want you to forget that there's more than one way to group. And a fraction bar naturally groups. A fraction bar naturally groups into a top, called the numerator, and a bottom, called the denominator. So you can do that math first. So let's do it. 4 plus 6 is 10. And 3 minus 1 is 2. But these things are, oh, my thing is not working. I'm going to have to go to the right, which I always tell you guys not to do. 4 plus 6 is 10, and 3 minus 1 is 2. But these two things are dividing. And now it's not a fraction if it divides, guys. Let's say that again. It's not a fraction anymore if it divides. 10 divides perfectly by 2. It's just 5. Look, that fraction bar didn't hurt us. I told you it wouldn't. It's okay. It's safe. You're safe with me, guys. All right. All right, you guys. I'm such a brat today. Happy learning.